everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of VOA WION co-production. I'm your host, Susan Tehrani, coming to you live from New York City. We begin with a high-stakes meeting between two of the world's major economies. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba is set to meet U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House today. Japanese officials say that they want to reaffirm the U.S.-Japan alliance and build strong personal ties between Ishiba and Trump. VOA's Bill Gallo reports this from Seoul.
Since starting his second term, U.S. President Donald Trump has quickly reapplied pressure on countries he says are exploiting the United States.
They're coming in and they're stealing our wealth, they're stealing our jobs, they're stealing our companies.
That pressure extends to U.S. friends, with Trump threatening tariffs and even suggesting taking Greenland and making Canada the 51st U.S. state. That is the context for Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's first meeting with Trump on Friday. And it's worrying many in Tokyo, says Professor Jeffrey J. Hall.
If you watch Japanese media or you listen to what Japanese people say, they're just hoping that Ishiba can get out of this meeting without becoming a victim of some kind of new attack from America.
During Donald Trump's first term, U.S.-Japan tensions were tempered, partly because of the personal diplomacy of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. But that approach may be difficult for Ishiba, who has a much different personality.
He's a kind of academic guy. He likes to just explain in excruciating detail, which can be good in a parliamentary debate or in some other setting, but when it comes to Trump, it's the polar opposite of the kind of conversation that Trump likes to have.
Some in Japan question why Ishiba is meeting Trump right now at all. Instead, they ask, why not stay off Trump's radar as long as possible? Others argue it's better to be proactive, in part to protect against any future strains in the alliance.
Some people say that don't wake up a sleeping baby, but you have to take a risk if you want to have a better relationship.
It's the same dynamic facing virtually every U.S. ally as Trump again pursues his America First approach to the world. Bill Gallo, VOA News, Seoul, South Korea.
All right, joining us now with additional reporting is VOA correspondent Jessica Stone. She's live with us at the White House. Hi, Jessica. A big meeting happening today. What's on the agenda for this meeting?
Yeah, so a White House official tells me that this is considered an official visit. It is not a state visit, meaning there won't be all the pageantry, but there will be a lot of meetings here at the White House and possibly elsewhere at the State Department as well. Up for discussion, trade and investment, obviously economic security, defense industrial cooperation, and we also expect that deal, that $14.9 billion deal to merge U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel to come up as well. That's something that President Biden blocked. It's something that the union is asking, and many are asking President Trump to reconsider, to allow that deal to go forward. They argue that it would be good for both Nippon and U.S. Steel. Biden, they also are filing court filings this week saying that this was for political reasons, that Biden did this to get the support of the unions. We will get a joint press conference and statement today, so we'll have to see what that brings us. But look for an early start to the relationship, much like we saw Prime Minister Abe come in the early part, really before President Trump took office in Trump 1.0.
And Jessica, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also scheduled to visit the White House at the end of next week. What do we expect to be the focus of those meetings?
Yeah, another official visit, a little bit longer next week. We're looking at Thursday and Friday. We expect most of the focus to be on arms sales and for New Delhi, obviously, avoiding any tariffs on the part of Trump. We expect drones and missiles to come up as well. Thursday, we saw that U.S. Defense Chief Pete Hegseth talked with Defense Minister Rajnath Singh about drafting a deeper level of defense cooperation between the two countries, building on what happened under the Biden administration just a year ago. India already volunteering to repatriate those that have Indians who have entered the U.S. illegally, and we saw those flights go out. They just touched down in New Delhi with about 100 migrants, many of them complaining about how they were treated, but nonetheless a gesture on the part of New Delhi that they want to work with this administration on immigration issues. We also expect that the Quad Summit will come up as well. India hosting Australia, Japan, the U.S., and they are all part of the Quad Summit, and an effort to counter China in many soft power arenas, but also in defense, not explicitly but implicitly. So discussions as well about when that summit will be taking place in India, and setting the groundwork for that. That's also on the agenda. Susan?
Okay, Jessica, please do stay with us while we go to this next story about events at the U.S.-Mexico border. After the recent discovery of a clandestine tunnel connecting the U.S. and Mexico cities of El Paso and Juarez, Mexican authorities have launched an operation to uncover other illegal underground passages. Veronica Villafane narrates this report by Cesar Contreras.
This illegal secret passage connects Mexico's Ciudad Juarez and the U.S. city of El Paso in Texas. The tunnel under the Rio Grande River is a little over a meter wide and nearly 2 meters high. It connects with a storm sewer system and is equipped with lighting and ventilation.
It is lined with wooden beams, as you will be able to see. It has beams, it has wood to prevent collapses.
Authorities believe this underground route was used to smuggle both migrants and drugs from Mexico to the United States. U.S. Border Patrol agents in El Paso discovered the tunnel on January 9th during an inspection of a storm drain and began sealing it on the northern side of the border a week later. Mexican authorities have started closing the tunnel on their end and say they're looking for others.
We have increased search activities to detect other tunnels, if there are any, and our presence will be maintained permanently.
The Mexican government has increased patrols at strategic points in Juarez to prevent migrants from becoming trapped in tunnels or falling victim to human traffickers as they attempt to cross the border illegally.
Our main purpose is to protect migrants and ensure they don't risk their lives trying to enter the United States illegally. However, after the discovery of this tunnel, we're also focused on searching for other tunnels in the area.
Investigations are ongoing, and Mexican authorities have reiterated their commitment to shutting down illegal routes along the border. For Cesar Contreras in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, Veronica Villafane, VOA News.
VOA's Jessica Stone is still with us. Jessica, earlier this week, Mexico and the United States reached an agreement to avoid 25% tariffs on Mexican goods in exchange for more steps to secure the border. Can you bring us up to speed with what's happening now?
Yeah, so during this 30-day pause of these tariffs, both countries are going to continue negotiations, but we've already seen steps on both sides take place, including those 10,000 troops going to the border, the beginning of which happened on Wednesday from Mexico. Mexican National Guard, they began arriving at the border with Ciudad Juarez and El Paso, Texas, pulling out ladders from trenches and putting them in trucks. And under the agreement, the U.S. has also promised to do more to stop guns from being trafficked into Mexico, fueling the violence of the cartels. Susan?
And Jessica, meantime, President Donald Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration continues with and without the cooperation of local authorities. California is the site of many of these raids. How is this enforcement action playing out there?
Well, California is a sanctuary state, meaning that the local authorities are not required to cooperate with federal immigration authorities during this raids, either through intelligence sharing or through actually carrying out these raids at all. But there are areas such as Huntington Beach, California, which is a surfing village or surfing area. They hold a lot of these competitions for surfers around the world. They are deciding not to be a sanctuary city, and they are actually advocating that they should be cooperating with the federal immigration authorities, saying that it will crack down on crime. That's the argument from Mayor Pat Burns. Huntington Beach doesn't control the jail, though, so that is an issue of how much control that step will really have, how much impact that step will really have. The Trump executive order It's already been put out, one of many, of course, would deny federal funds to sanctuary cities. We just don't know yet how that's going to impact the state of California, but we're looking into that now. Susan?
Jessica, thank you so much for all of those updates. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.